Yo, we back with another video. It's been a minute since I did a video on Cenat, but hello, y'all seen, got something going on here. Cenat's fashion journey is pathetic. Is it really now? I haven't really been keeping up with Cenat's fashion journey because I just got a lot of stuff going on my damn self. But this should be quite interesting. Let's see what the brother has to say. Make sure you like, sub to the channel. Let's waste no time. Let's get to it, y'all.
What's poppin', y'all? Cenat has finally come back to explain this journal he's been walking around with for the past several months, and he says the following: I never really got to explain this journal clearly, so I'm going to start being transparent. He's already been too transparent. This journal was gifted to me in October of last year when I started to learn how clothes are made. October. It's March 1st. Which means that, what is that? Less than 6 months. Less than 6 months. This guy's been walking around this guy's been on his fashion journey for less than 6 months. Virgil Abloh and Kanye West spent like a year interning. And this was after they already had fashion experience. Virgil was an architect, went to college for that. So he had elements of design already in him. And Cenat's walking around here, and he's been doing this for less than 6 months. Oh my goodness. It's like, I don't want to hate on Cenat, but it's like, dog, do you realize how detached you are? But anyway, he says, I decided to document everything I've been learning by writing and putting Polaroids in it. I've carried this with me ever since, and what I have started doing is scanning the pages and putting them online for anyone else learning about clothing. I'm grateful for who I've met and what I'm continuously learning. I feel like I need to share it with you guys. No, you don't. You need to share it with us. This is oversharing. So I actually went to the website and I signed in and I started opening this journal. So just in the first couple of pages, like you see him talking about the journey, right? And you also see all of these different, like a journal gifted to me as I was going around to different factories in Italy, learning and gaining as much knowledge as possible.
See, the problem with this, and this is no shade to Kai, I mean, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to add other elements to his persona and letting us see him, I guess, be vulnerable and being into different things besides being on stream all the time, being loud and just being animated. I guess he's trying to show us the other side of the coin, basically. But the thing with this is, for the past 10 plus years, when it comes to the elements of fashion and making clothes, all of this stuff is all over the internet. You know what I mean? Like T-shirt help desk. Who else? Superline, wholesale. Who's another one? I mean, there's too many to name. But there's a lot of these guys on the internet that show you the process of what it takes to make clothes. So this isn't going to be anything wowing to anybody like myself who's already kind of been in this space and what it takes to make clothes, from like a tech pack, sending off that to a manufacturer, getting samples sent back in, letting them know what type of materials you want, sending them the measurements. Like this here wouldn't necessarily impress somebody like me, you know. But yeah, we'll continue.
I really wanted a videographer to document the journey by recording on camera, but I didn't have them with me yet. So here's me documenting everything with the journal and photos. Like this could have been a TikTok of a girl going to some Italian factories for the first time in her life, because that's what this is. So October 11th, the first print out of some of the first collection before launch. Brief ideas. A lot of these items I like a lot. Some of them still need work. A lot of these are not confirmed. So he's just teasing this Vivette thing. And the reason why I find this so, it's kind of dumb too, is because imagine the Carter documentary, right? So for those of you that are a little bit older, or a little bit younger, I should say, there was a documentary called The Carter that was released in 2009. And it was released after The Carter 3. So a lot of it was the making of The Carter 3. And The Carter 3 ended up being the most successful album at that point in his career. Maybe, I mean, it won Grammy for Best Rap Album and a lot of other awards. I think it was the one that sold 1 million first week, or was that The Carter 4? I think it was. Anyway, it was one of the best-selling albums first week. Yeah, it sold over 1 million copies first week. So it went platinum first week, not the fake platinum with these putting a hit on. And there were also a lot of leaks involved, but it shows the entire process. Now, when did I say it released? 2009. The Carter 3 released in 2008. This was filmed during that process, but Was it teased? No. Was it released? No. And why not? Because they wanted to wait and see what the hell happened with the Carter 3. If the Carter 3 sold 20K first week, and it was a massive flop and everybody thought it was trash and there was no hit and there was no lollipop and there was nothing, because keep in mind, the Carter 3 had to get remade because the original Carter 3 just leaked. So much stuff ended up leaking. So Wayne was just like, all right, let's get back in. And it's a great documentary. Like, if you like Lil Wayne, you've probably seen it if you're a little bit older, but if you're a fan of Lil Wayne, I really suggest you watch this, because you get an insight into the work ethic of somebody like a Lil Wayne. Keep in mind, Lil Wayne was already rapping for 20 plus years before he did this documentary. Anyway, with that being said, this is like Kai Cenat releasing a documentary before the clothing didn't even drop. The album didn't drop. So imagine the Carter documentary comes out before the Carter album comes out. You're looking at it like, dog, what the hell is this? And
I think probably why he's doing that is because when you think about fashion, we all know the fashion industry is super duper saturated. Everybody got a damn clothing brand, it seems like. And in order to, I guess, get people amped about it, you kind of want to feed them, bits and pieces. You know what I mean? I would say this journal of his would be almost equivalent to Lil Wayne's mixtapes. The Drought, you know what I'm saying? Like during that whole mixtape era, that was kind of like RT's leading up to the Carter 3. We knew it was coming, you know what I'm saying? But he was giving us that mixtape work. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to kind of compare the two, I can kind of understand what Kai's trying to do, because it's very, very hard to get a brand to really pop now. You feel me? Because everybody's doing it. Now, the plus for him is that he already has a large following because of who he is. So he's not really going to have much of an issue probably selling these clothes. You know what I'm saying? But I understand he wants to, I guess, convey the message that I'm genuinely wanting to learn this. This is something that I'm really interested in, and I want y'all to see that I'm sincere about it. At least that's what I'm gathering, Not trying to make this like a hate bashing thing. I mean, I kind of maybe get what y'all seen this saying, but yeah.
then if it flops too, because with Kai Cenat, the clothing hasn't even released. There hasn't been a single collection. He hasn't sold a single item yet, and we haven't seen what the temperature check is and the general public's thoughts on him as a designer and the clothing that he's produced. So the fact that he's putting this out, it just feels so like self-centered, and he wants to skip the process. And Rocky even pointed this out in a clip that when he was doing the interview with academics, and he was saying like, yo, come holla at me. Like, you don't got to show everybody the process, because people don't care about the process unless the result is something successful. Like, do you want to see some bum train every single day that's never going to make it to the NBA?
I mean, I guess I get that. I see now that he explained it more, I see what he's saying. It's like, everybody don't got to see what you're doing. Just show the product when it's done, sell it, and if people rock with it, they rock with it. And then after that, you could show the behind the scenes of you creating it and things like that. But you might be giving people a little bit too much, and that just a lot of times has to do with Kai Cenat and his age. He's a lot younger. So he just comes from a time where everything is just so accustomed to just being out there for people to see. This might be his way of just trying to change the norm, trying to shift the way things are done. He might be trying to break the mold. We don't know.
Right? Like, you want to see, oh, wait, this person went through the D-League, and then he played overseas for 2 years, and then he was in China for a year, and then he was in Lithuania, and then he made it to the NBA, and then now he dropped a documentary of him and his process that he had to go through. That's cool, because like, oh, whoa, we're going from here, and we're ending at the top. Same thing with like a LaMelo Ball. Like, we followed that in real time, but that's because they were just on social media. And LaMelo Ball wasn't even young enough to get drafted at that time. What they were doing with LaMelo and LiAngelo by like sending him, I think, 1 year in Lithuania, 1 year in Australia. That was really cool. And actually, if a documentary comes out about that, that would be really entertaining and really cool. But with a Kai Cenat, you're not even at the destination yet. And this is where I think it's just this influencer, streamer, oversharing ideology. And frankly, I'm going to show you guys a graph right now. Kai Cenat, this is for those, it's like it's a Dunning-Kruger effect graph. But basically, the x-axis is how good you are at something, also, and then the y-axis is how confident you are about something. So, and it's also time as well. So, for example, early on, everything seems kind of easy. You're like, yo, that's light work. I could do that. And then you start, and it's kind of, and then you hit the valley of despair, which is when you realize, yo, this is way harder than I thought. It's like rapping, right? Especially when you hear rappers that sound like they make it look easy. You're like, yo, rapping must be easy. Making music must be easy. You go in there, you try to make a song. Let's say you even have the beat ready, you have an engineer, and it sounds like trash. Or you might think it sounds good. And then everyone's telling you, like, yo, this is terrible. You spend a couple of months, and you're like, damn, I really suck. And this is after a couple of months. So after a couple of months, you're less confident than you were on day one. And that's like valley of despair. I don't know if Kai Cenat's reached that yet. But Kai Cenat's at the point of the top of Mount Stupid. He's there with the clothes. He's there like showing up at Fashion Week. Dog, October. This is what really set me off. Like, this isn't something that he's been doing forever. This is something that he just got into. Like, Bruce Drop 'Em Off has a better, like, Bruce Drop 'Em Off used to sell clothes when he was like 16, 17. It was called like Condones, Condones. So he had attempted to like somewhat do like a fashion type of business. So it would make sense if a Bruce, and even a Bruce, isn't going to do something like this. So the fact that Kai Cenat's out here making a documentary about him learning something that just started in October, and he's putting the stuff out like we care, is so self-centered, like big-headed. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you should do this. I'm not saying he shouldn't document this. He should document this, but keep it to himself. Drop the clothing, and then, but I think this is like a promotional strategy, but this is what Kai Cenat's going to learn, and it's going to be a tough lesson. You want the respect of your clothing to leave your sphere of influence. So the best thing for Kai Cenat's clothing brand to be successful is for somebody who has no idea what the hell Kai Cenat is, or who the hell Kai Cenat is, or what a Vivette is, or what a journal is, or what Italian factory he went to. They just see a clothing item and they're like, damn, that's cool. And someone says like, yo, where'd you get that? They're like, oh, I don't know, I bought it. Well, obviously, like, you would have to go to his store, but like, oh, I just saw it on Instagram and I thought it was cool. And you're like, do you know who Kai Cenat is? That's his brand. He's like, I've heard of that guy. I didn't know it's his brand. But if it's going to be your fans that are buying the clothes and it sells out, because I think it's going to sell out because his fans are going to want to buy it and they're probably going to want to resell it. But then why would you even stop streaming? Because if you just kept streaming, kept doing content, and put out the clothes, they would buy it anyway because they're your fans. So seeing,
you know what it is, everybody longs to be different, longs to be unique. And so Kai has been alive long enough to see the inner workings of how some of these fashion houses work, with Virgil and Kanye, Jerry Lorenzo, who's another one. Dude who's got Hypeland, you know, all of these guys. He's seen enough of how they move to get into this space. And that's essentially what he's trying to do. This whole idea with this journal is to make himself, you know, stand out, I guess, to seem unique. Now, there isn't anything necessarily unique about what you see in this book because we've seen this already. We've seen people, you know, do chicken scratch writing and sketching out purses and taking pictures, you know, basically a vision board inside of a book on what you are working on as, you know, as a fashion house. It's nothing unique about that. That's why I said in one of my other videos, it would have been dope if Kai would have maybe announced that he was doing something like starting his own streaming app or something like that. See, like Streamer University, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? We had never seen anything like that. You know what I mean? He was on to something with that. And I think he might still be probably doing Streamer University when he gets done, whatever this fashion thing is. But I said in that video that we as so-called Black people, there's nothing wrong with us getting into fashion and stuff like that. Like, it's already known that we really do this when it comes to fashion. We put that shit on and we do it the best, respectfully. So I would have just wanted to have seen something different from Kai Cenat. Like I'm not like for me personally, this is no hating or bashing, but I personally don't see any uniqueness in this because I've seen this already. I'm in fashion myself. Now, of course, I don't have the following that he has yet, but I mean, this is along the lines of what I've been trying to do for a minute. And I'm still gonna do it because this is just something that I too always wanted to do. I still to this day have sketches from high school. We're talking 2006, 2007 of clothes that I designed for a brand. I'm not going to say the name of it, but a brand that I once wanted to create. You know what I'm saying? I still have those drawings to this day. So, you know, anyway.
And it's just like this little childish journal. It's so self-centered from what I'm not self-centered because I don't think like Kai Cenat thinks he's like the hottest thing, but I think he's trying to shortcut everything. And you cannot shortcut greatness. It's impossible. You cannot. Everybody put in their dues. Look at Ye. Ye's been in fashion for, let's just say, his first collaboration. Not only has Ye been into fashion since he was a child himself, which this is something that Kai Cenat just recently picked up 2 to 3 years ago when he started getting money. But Ye's been into this stuff and style since he was a kid. When did he really start having success? Like, the first Yeezy collection didn't even perform that well, like the MSG one, or that was like season 3, I think. But the MSG moment with The Life of Pablo, that collection didn't do that well. It wasn't until like the Gap stuff did well, but it wasn't until maybe like late 20 teens, like 2018, 19, 20, and onward, especially now that he's doing everything on his own. And before that, he had partners. So now he's doing stuff on his own. And it wasn't until now that it started doing well for him. Well, he started off more with shoes because shoes always did well for Ye. But even then, that's 2016. So he's been in the fashion game for well over a decade. And this is Ye, who was more successful in every measure before getting into fashion than Kai Cenat is.
Yeah, another thing we also have to remember too is that everybody today has a microwave brain. You know what I'm saying? So October to January, October, see, November, December, January, February. So 4 months to most people now with a microwave brain seems like an eternity. So for Kai Cenat, you know, he can try to basically position this like, yeah, that was a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? When I was cooking that up, even though it was just a couple months back. But yeah, that's probably the whole concept behind it.
And we don't have a Ye documentary
Or that thought
about
process.
fashion. We don't have Ye showing up. Well, he does share here and there, but he came into it humble. Like, we should have been seeing people catching Kai Cenat working for some Celine designer, handing him coffee. Like a fan is like, yo, Kai Cenat went from streaming Mafiathon 3 and LeBron to collecting coffee for these. That's what we should have saw. Because that's you putting yourself down there and saying, you know what? I got to learn like everybody else. There is no shortcut to this. Yeah, you have money, but like people, like we're going to know, money does not buy taste. And also, it would make sense if Kai Cenat partnered with a designer that people respect. Like, it could be a young dude, and that's the guy that's aiding Kai Cenat, and they're working as a team. But for him, like, dog, the guy's like using a freaking sewing machine. This started in October, bro. Like, this is so unreal.
I mean, I would also add too, I know I'm stopping the video, but it's almost over. Yeah, because of who Kai Cenat knows, you know, he's already big in the streaming space. So it doesn't really require him to do a lot of legwork or working his way up from the bottom up to really build himself as a fashion house. You feel me? It is going to be a lot easier for him than, say, someone who's been at this for years, learning different, you know, about different textiles, fabrics, different type of, you know, clothes that can be seamed together, just a whole bunch of stuff that comes with fashion. You know what I mean? Especially when you start getting into like cut and sew, because the thing is with most clothing brands, especially like all these like gimmicky TikTok brands that you see, they just do it the easy way. You get a bunch of blanks and you screen print your logo on there, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how most brands get their foot in the door. Supreme did that. Stussy did that. Palace, Bape, like they all started in that manner. They started with a t-shirt with a screen print on it. You know what I mean? And then slowly but surely, as they built their brand, they got into cut and sew. Now that's when you're really getting into the nitty grit of it. When you start getting into cut and sew, because now you're dealing with measurements, you're dealing with different textiles, stuff like that. Models and things. So it's a little bit more intricate. But for him, I mean, he just had, you know, a clear runway into that because he ain't got nobody that he has to necessarily answer to or go through.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see this collection, man. I really cannot, because it's going to sell. It's not, that's not a thing. But are people going to clown this? Are they going to say it's trash? Because fashion is subjective, but you are objectively trash if you've only been doing something for a couple of months. Like, did those people at the Italian factories tell them how long their family's been in this and how long they've been working on design? This is why you got to respect. He needs to get the hell out of Italy. He needs to spend some time in Japan. He needs to spend some time at a omakase where they tell him, like, yo, these guys spent years just looking. He needs to watch that documentary, actually, about the sushi chef. These people spending years just learning about rice. Just the rice. How to prepare rice. Years of study before they can become a sushi chef. And this guy's talking about putting out a collection and learning this whole fashion thing that he's documented since October. It hasn't even been a full 6 months. It's October 11th is the first date. I'm recording this on March 1st. So, yeah, man, this is peak influencer, streamer. I'm that guy, like, thinking he's got the magic touch. Because until now, it must have felt like that. But, yeah, we gonna see. Well, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Am I hating? Or do I got a point? And there's a little bit of hate attached to it. Like, no, how are you going to put out the documentary before the product even comes out? Like, imagine doing a, I don't know, Taylor Swift tour documentary. Like, this is how we're preparing the tour. This is the places we're booking. And then you show up and nobody's at the show. Show is half.
I see what he's saying. But I kind of see what, my boy Yasin is saying. I mean, just in a traditional sense, that's not how most people, do it. They release whatever it is that they're releasing, whether it be an album or they're going on tour, you know what I'm saying? Or let's say a basketball team is going on a winning streak and they make it all the way to the championship, and they win. That's kind of like the Last Dance, documentary. We didn't get a Last Dance documentary until Michael and the Bulls were well past 20, 30 years out from their reign in the NBA. That's when we got that documentary to see what led to their greatness. So I can understand that. Whereas, with him showing us so much, it's kind of like, it kind of killed, but he's going to sell anyway. He's going to sell. I'm not, dissing Kai or anything like that, not trying to dim his light or anything. I mean, everybody's got their own way and how they want to do their thing. You know what I'm saying? But y'all get down in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that, and if you'll be buying any of Kai's clothes, if you can even get it, because the way it's looking, it's probably going to sell out for sure. If it's going to have quality materials, high-end materials, yeah, it's definitely going to sell out. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. I'll be sure to link his video down in the description as well, in case y'all want to check him out, support his channel. If you made it this far to my video, like I always say, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I put a lot into these videos, you know what I'm saying? So make sure you like, sub up, leave your comments, and yeah, till the next video, it's your boy Robbie. I'm out of here.